princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour. If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
I never wanted to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I had.
Nothing has brought me greater joy than watching the Walt Disney Company absolutely panic over the last few weeks. They're mad at South Park because they're making fun of their woke ideologies, constantly race swapping or religion swapping everything in their movies.
Rumors are swirling that Rachel Zegler is fuming behind the scenes after South Park brutally mocked her and Disney's Snow White remake. Insiders claim Disney is scrambling to contain the fallout, as the controversial actress and the studio's so-called woke agenda have become the punchline of South Park's latest satire. The episode didn't hold back, parodying Disney's reimagined classics with gender-swapped characters and sharp commentary that has fans buzzing. Zegler, already criticized for her dismissive remarks about the original Snow White, is now at the center of even more backlash. From whispers of on-set tension to public outrage, the drama keeps escalating. Why has this casting sparked such heated debate? And how does South Park manage to spotlight what fans are calling Disney's biggest mistake? Join us as we dive into the rumors, the satire, and the controversy that's got everyone talking. South Park targets woke Snow White. Rachel Zegler reacted strongly after her progressive viewpoints were challenged satirically by South Park. The animated show targeted Disney's recent endeavors to promote its social and political agenda.
Eric, it's okay. Okay.
Ma'am, I had a dream that I was replaced by a diverse woman.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, only this time, it wasn't just me. They were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the patriarchy.
It's hardly a shock. South Park has a reputation for satirizing the excesses of woke culture, and Disney's recent actions with their Snow White remake practically begged for their attention. However, it appears Rachel Zegler, Disney's chosen Snow White, isn't amused. Reports suggest she's not just annoyed. She's angry about the parody and the resulting criticism directed at her role. South Park recently aired an episode titled Into the Panderverse. The name itself is quite revealing. In typical South Park fashion, they didn't hold back. They transformed beloved characters like Cartman, Stan, Butters, and Kenny into adult women of color, altering both their gender and race. It was a clear jab at Disney's recent trend of reimagining classic stories with significant character changes, seemingly discarding tradition to appease modern audiences. But the satire didn't end there. It was a complete mockery of everything people have been criticizing about Disney's recent remakes. Consider Snow White. The selection of Rachel Zegler, who is Latina, ignited considerable controversy, especially since the original Snow White was explicitly named for her snow white complexion. This casting choice has become a major point of contention. Fans expressed concerns that the character's fundamental attributes no longer make sense, and frankly, they have a point. Furthermore, the episode didn't just criticize Disney's creative choices, it also emphasized how these decisions are perceived by fans. Many viewers interpreted South Park's satirical take as a reflection of their own dissatisfaction with Disney's approach to reimagining beloved classics. By turning Snow White into a controversial subject, both Rachel Zegler and the studio have unintentionally become symbols of what critics perceive as pandering instead of genuine progress. This has only intensified the backlash, with South Park giving a voice to fans who feel Disney has lost sight of its storytelling essence. A classic unrecognizable. Moreover, the modifications go beyond simply casting choices, eliciting widespread criticism. Disney has chosen to completely revamp the narrative, jettisoning core elements that establish the original as a cherished classic. Romantic storylines? Eradicated. The prince's character? Essentially removed. The seven dwarves? Bid them adieu. One might conclude that Disney is intentionally striving to make the story unrecognizable.
Leave a little person one person with dwarfism, and now they're just completely cut. There will be no dwarf actors at all working on this film, and in a live action, which means we're supposed to translate from animation to real life.
And Rachel, in her actions, has done little to ingratiate herself with fans. During interviews, she has been criticized for displaying a dismissive and privileged attitude towards her role. She has openly expressed her disdain for the original narrative, characterizing it as antiquated and offensive. In one instance, she even made light of apple-flavored snacks provided on set, as if this were a deliberate affront.
For the set that are apple flavored, and that hurts my feelings.
I was gonna say,
it's like they don't know what happens to me. There's gonna be so many stories that come from the set about how difficult I am to work with simply because I don't want apple.
Really, Rachel? Are these truly our priorities? The reimagining of Snow White has ignited a broader discussion on how studios navigate the complexities of modernizing narratives while retaining the essence of cherished tales. Critics contend that by discarding fundamental components such as the romance, the prince, and the seven dwarves, Disney isn't merely updating. They are fundamentally altering the narrative's core identity. These alterations, perceived by many as superfluous, raise a crucial question. Is the objective to enhance the narrative or merely to conform to prevailing trends? Admirers of the original believe that the enduring themes of love, kindness, and friendship have been supplanted by superficial attempts at progressiveness, leaving the remake devoid of the enchantment that made it a classic. Furthermore, the decision to entirely exclude dwarf actors has attracted severe criticism for marginalizing an already underrepresented group within the entertainment industry. While Disney asserts this alteration is part of a modernized approach, many perceive it as erasure rather than inclusivity. Fans maintain that the seven dwarves were more than just supporting characters. They were essential to Snow White's journey, providing friendship, protection, and depth to the narrative. Removing them not only diminishes the storyline, but also eliminates opportunities for actors with dwarfism to portray these beloved characters. This choice further alienated audiences who believe Disney's remake prioritizes appearances over authenticity. Snow White's romance removed. Understandably, fans are displeased. They perceive her as disparaging a cherished fairy tale to promote this new rendition that bears little resemblance to Snow White. Adding to the controversy, Rachel's remarks about the prince have caused consternation. She suggested that romance is no longer a component of the narrative, stating, "It's not about the love story at all." She even jested about potentially removing all his scenes.
Prince or a different kind of prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie.
Right.
Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, babe.
Regardless of Zegler's intent, her remarks resonated negatively with fans. Many perceived her comments as dismissive and patronizing, portraying the original Snow White as antiquated or inferior, rather than acknowledging its status as a beloved classic. This portrayal, combined with Disney's substantial alterations to the narrative, has left audiences frustrated and disillusioned. Fans aren't solely upset about the modifications, they are upset about the underlying message these changes seem to convey. It appears as though the original story is being judged as inherently flawed, rather than celebrated for the cultural and emotional significance it has held for generations. The alterations to the Seven Dwarfs, specifically, have attracted intense criticism. Disney didn't merely modernize or adapt their role, they completely eliminated them, fundamentally altering the narrative. The original Snow White was founded upon her connection to these characters, who provided friendship, protection, and a sense of family. Removing them strips away a vital layer of emotional depth and meaning. Instead of reimagining their role to align with contemporary values, Disney chose to eliminate them altogether, a decision many perceive as unnecessarily erasing an integral part of the story. For fans, it's not just about the changes themselves, but about what they represent, a disregard for the legacy of a generational film. If one is going to remake a story so deeply embedded in popular culture, shouldn't the objective be to honor and enhance its legacy rather than erase it? The portrayal of these changes as improvements has further fueled the backlash, with many fans feeling that Disney and Zegler are dismissing the original Snow White as antiquated or problematic, without fully appreciating its cultural and emotional impact. For generations, Snow White has been a symbol of hope, resilience, and the transformative power of love and friendship. By removing these core elements, critics argue the story loses its heart and becomes unrecognizable, instead of reimagining the tale in a way that enhances its timeless. Rachel Zegler's behavior sparks backlash. Zegler's demeanor has drawn considerable disapproval, with many perceiving her as profoundly unappreciative and privileged regarding her role. Her attitude in interviews, combined with contentious remarks, has negatively impacted the film's reception even before its debut. For example, Zegler proposed that she should receive compensation for every hour the movie is streamed online, a statement widely criticized as insensitive and self-centered.
In a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour.
Fans and critics contend that her emphasis on complaints, rather than appreciating the chance to portray such a renowned character, appears to disregard the character's cultural importance and the legacy of the original film. These remarks, combined with her perceived negative attitude, have alienated many potential supporters of the project and tarnished the public's view of the film. Moreover, Zegler's remarks about the difficulties of portraying Snow White seem to downplay the significance of her role. Instead of emphasizing the unique opportunity to reinterpret a beloved character, her grievances about the long hours and costume discomfort have portrayed her as disconnected from the excitement and responsibility associated with such a role. This attitude has fueled the perception that Zegler is unappreciative, making it difficult for audiences to connect with her as the new face of a timeless story. Consequently, the controversy surrounding her involvement has overshadowed what could have been a momentous and celebratory adaptation. Adding to the disconnect, Zegler admitted that she was scared of the original Snow White and only watched it once. For fans, this revelation feels like a dismissal of the emotional attachment and nostalgia they hold for the classic film. Many believe that playing such an iconic character requires a deep appreciation for its legacy, and Zegler's lack of connection to the original story has only fueled concerns that the remake fails to respect its roots. This has added yet another layer to the ongoing controversy, as audiences struggle to see her as a fitting choice for a role so closely tied to Disney's history. Rachel Zegler addresses criticism and threats.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it.
Amidst the mounting backlash surrounding her casting and comments, Rachel Zegler has spoken out about the severe criticism she's been facing. Known for her outspoken nature in interviews, Zegler has often been labeled ungrateful and dismissive, with her remarks about the Snow White remake sparking outrage among fans. However, the actress recently addressed the darker side of this backlash, revealing the hostile and threatening messages she has received, shedding light on the emotional toll it has taken. In a recent clip, Zegler shared, "I never wanted off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time, and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats." This statement highlights the challenging reality of navigating public life under intense scrutiny. While her comments and behavior have drawn criticism, the escalation to personal threats shows how quickly public discourse can turn toxic. Her remarks come at a time when fans and critics alike are questioning Disney's creative decisions, with Zegler often becoming the lightning rod for frustrations about the Snow White remake. Although some critics focus on her perceived attitude, the more personal and extreme reactions underscore the challenges of being in the spotlight. It raises broader concerns about the line between valid criticism and unacceptable As the debate continues, Zegler's words call for a moment of reflection on how far discourse has gone. While creative choices and public personas remain open to critique, the conversation should remain respectful. Zegler's experience is a stark reminder of the human cost of online outrage and the importance of fostering dialogue that focuses on ideas rather than personal attacks. Zegler's experience also brings attention to the double-edged sword of social media, where public figures are increasingly subjected to unfiltered criticism and hostility. While platforms allow fans to voice their opinions, they can also amplify negativity to an overwhelming degree, blurring the line between fair critique and harmful behavior. Zegler's revelation about receiving death threats highlights the darker side of fan culture, where strong emotional connections to stories and characters can sometimes manifest in extreme and unjustified reactions. This underscores the need for a healthier, more constructive dialogue, both online and in broader discussions surrounding creative works.
I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats.
South Park's sharp satire targets Disney. This isn't the first instance of Disney facing criticism for such alterations. Consider The Little Mermaid. Selecting Halle Bailey as Ariel ignited considerable controversy, yet the film largely retained its original appeal. In The Little Mermaid's case, fans expressed disapproval regarding the casting, though the narrative remained faithful to its roots. However, this is not the situation with Snow White. With numerous substantial alterations, fans believe Disney is prioritizing a specific agenda over creating something genuine. Furthermore, Rachel's insensitive interviews exacerbate the situation, making it even less acceptable to fans. Naturally, South Park recognized this and seized the opportunity. They have a talent for highlighting society's absurdities, and their Panderverse episode is no exception. By altering the race and gender of their own iconic characters, they elevated the satire, demonstrating the potential absurdity of such decisions when taken to extremes. And frankly, South Park is unconcerned about causing offense. Disney is not their first target, and they certainly won't be the last. South Park has a long history of satirizing Disney, but this latest Panderverse episode seems specifically designed to critique the studio's current trajectory. While it mocks numerous studios catering to woke audiences, it's evident that Disney, and specifically the Snow White remake, was their primary focus. After all, Disney has been persisting with these casting choices and narrative overhauls, and South Park was not going to let them escape criticism. So, what is the episode's central message? Changing a character's ethnicity or gender in an established story does not constitute genuine diversity, especially when it fails to promote wokeness. What comes to mind after hearing this? Snow White, right? Although South Park has never focused on exploring cultural or ethnic backgrounds, Disney practically invited them to critique their approach to Snow White in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Authenticity versus marketing. Many fans perceive the core issue to be a lack of authenticity rather than inclusivity. Zegler's involvement has exacerbated this sentiment. Fans are troubled by her disparaging attitude towards the original story. Her interviews convey disdain for the original Snow White, rather than excitement for her role. Her support for eliminating the romance, marginalizing the prince, and transforming Snow White into a warrior archetype has alienated many who cherished the original.
Values that we all loved growing up that are sadly being forgotten in this new adaptation. I also don't know who is more excited, this guy or me, because the way he was bouncing in that video was absolutely insane. But somebody said, who's playing Snow White, Ben or Brett? I can't even tell. Never heard that joke before. That's really clever.
The potency of South Park's satire lies in its exaggeration of these trends. Their Panderverse episode highlights the superficiality of prioritizing surface-level changes over genuine storytelling. Casting Zegler as Snow White appears more like a marketing ploy to gain recognition for diversity than an inspired choice. Instead of attracting fans, it became a public relations disaster, with Zegler facing ridicule and alienating those who cherish the original tale. However, this isn't the first time South Park has satirized Disney. In 2022, they aired The Streaming Wars, which also mocked the entertainment giant. Recall their criticism of Star Wars after Disney's acquisition, and their infamous portrayal of Mickey Mouse in past episodes. Disney isn't merely a frequent target, they are practically a recurring character in South Park's satirical universe. Evidently, Disney is deeply displeased with South Park's mockery, and rumors suggest that the company is actively attempting to negotiate with South Park's creators to prevent similar episodes in the future. This response is understandable, given that Disney has meticulously built its empire on a carefully cultivated public image, emphasizing inclusivity, creativity, and family-friendly values. South Park's unfiltered and unrestrained critique directly challenges this business model, exposing vulnerabilities and amplifying criticisms Disney would likely prefer to control. If the mockery of Mickey Mouse in previous episodes was deemed unfavorable, this latest Panderverse episode, with its sharp satire targeting Disney's creative and casting decisions, may stand as the most biting and severe critique yet, potentially leaving a lasting impact on public perception of the entertainment giant.
About Snow White. How they're gonna sum that up and fix it, I have no idea. Please, please, please don't make it something where she's like asking him or like it's her. She's the one who actually makes the kiss happen in the end. I don't know.
Lost in modernization. The omission of enduring values such as love, kindness, friendship, and inner beauty in Disney's Snow White remake has led fans to scrutinize the studio's approach to storytelling. These timeless qualities, which were foundational to the original film's charm, have been overshadowed by a modern reimagining that many feel lacks the emotional depth and resonance of its predecessor. Rachel Zegler's portrayal of Snow White, combined with substantial plot deviations, has further fueled this dissatisfaction as audiences struggle to connect with a version of the character that appears detached from the core elements that once made her so beloved. Instead of a heartwarming tale of innocence and triumph over adversity, the new iteration is seen as a departure into unfamiliar territory, leaving fans questioning whether the essence of Snow White has been sacrificed in favor of trend-driven updates. Fans argue that Snow White's story was never just a romantic fairy tale. It was a symbol of resilience, hope, and the enduring power of genuine connection. The love story, while central, represented far more than romance. It embodied the idea that kindness and inner beauty could overcome even the darkest challenges. By eliminating these themes, critics contend, Disney has removed the emotional anchor that made the story so universally relatable and timeless. The exclusion of these elements isn't seen as modernization, but rather as a loss of the narrative's soul. For generations, audiences have cherished Snow White not just for her fairy tale romance, but for her strength, optimism, and ability to inspire those around her. Stripping away these qualities has left fans feeling as though the heart of the story has been replaced with a hollow shell. This backlash reveals a deeper yearning among fans for adaptations that balance the integrity of classic stories with modern sensibilities. Critics acknowledge the need to evolve narratives for contemporary audiences, but argue that such evolution should enhance rather than erase the essence of the original. Disney's Snow White remake is viewed by many as a missed opportunity to honor a cherished legacy, while introducing thoughtful updates that resonate with today's values. Instead, the drastic changes have alienated a core audience that feels disconnected from a story that once inspired them. The reaction underscores the delicate challenge of reimagining classics in a way that respects their history while still appealing to new generations, a balance that fans believe Disney has failed to strike in this case. Thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on Disney's Snow White remake? Are the changes refreshing, Or do they stray too far from the original? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more updates, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. And before you go, check out the next video on the screen. It's one you won't want to miss. See you there.